Hey MVPs, Rico Knows here. Going to do a results show for UFC. If you guys can read the chart, we'll talk it through and we'll explain what's going on. I'll start from the bottom as always and then work my way up. So we started in the prelims down here. You see Loughran versus Pacheco. It was a lock for the night. That's why it's in white text. And I pretty much told you guys, we're not losing this. Loughran is a world-class grappler and a wrestler, better than Pacheco. I didn't think Pacheco belonged in the UFC. And that's why we made Loughran the number one lock, and we put him in the first parlay, put him in every parlay that mattered, believed in Loughran, bet heavy, find one or two fighters you believe in. This is the way you bet UFC. It's not like football or basketball or baseball. It's tough to make your money. You got to pick and choose your spots and be wise about it. So you got him at minus 370 on a money line. They didn't let me pick other methods at that time. I really don't know what I would have picked, but he went the distance, and Loughran found a way to win it. The next fight, Petroski and Malkoun. Yes, Malkoun was a heavy favorite. I told you Petroski had knockout potential, power, and all this other stuff. This is just something that's happening to us, and anytime I make a value bet, we have a shot, and then a freak accident occurs. And in this case, Andre Petroski knocked himself out by shooting at a hip or something. He lost his equilibrium. He did not get hit. He did not get knocked out. Something went wrong. Dude looked compromised, and we lose our money. But that, plain and simple. Now, value bets, we're still above 50% at the end of the night. But yes, it's a crapshoot, and I wish you well. If you guys are betting one unit on every single value bet, every underdog, you'd be ahead right now. You really would, by more than a unit, because we did hit on a plus 154. We did hit on a plus 190, on a plus 215. And people are going to just scoff at that. I had one MVP. I'm not going to give him the luxury of saying his name, but one MVP started saying, oh, I'm going to fade all of Rico's value picks, or I'm going to fade Rico, or Rico doesn't know what he's doing. Bro, fade in silence. Fade all you want. But when you fade me, don't say shit when you start losing money. When you fade me, pay that $25 a month. If you're going to fade me all year, pay that $255. Do what you do. You have every right. It's your money. But I don't recommend fading me. I really don't. Now, we did miss. Next, we're going to win on Gato. Unfortunately, Dudakova had to pull out of the fight, and we got gypped out of it. That's why it's in orange. That's a damn shame, because we wanted to win that. The next fight, Takalja, Anton had a chance to win this fight. I thought he was winning going into the third. He just got reckless, got caught, and had nothing left. He just fought cocky, arrogant. I did not like it. I think the next time I see him on a fight card, I'm not going to believe in him. And it was a very unfortunate, and I was kind of bummed out. At the same time, Connor Matthews losing to Dennis Bazookia. Once again, Bazookia finally wins by TKO. It just looked weird. It looked like Connor had no power. Did not do anything that he says he does. His nickname was the Controller, and we missed. And that's the first lean miss in a while. You see it down here. We're at 72% on leans, but we're missing. And at this point, we have people questioning what we're doing. Now, I want you guys to understand something. First and foremost, don't bet on every fight. Secondly, you're bound to miss. It's going to happen. Nobody wants to miss 4 or 5 in a row. That's terrible. But if you look at a Julio Arce fight, he's minus 400 winner, and he's losing to Herbert Burns, or he's fighting Herbert Burns, and you're like, Rico, you took Herbert Burns. You took that bum. Not necessarily. I said this is a plus, and you see it down here, plus 600. If I tell you take the submission, I then have to tell you to take his name up here, just to be consistent and not contradict myself on the card. I don't want to confuse MVPs. So I do this. Would I have ever bet on Herbert Burns? No. Do I recommend you bet on Herbert Burns? No. There's certain fights you got to just avoid the fight. You can sprinkle that plus 600 if you want, but there's no reason for you to go in here. So yes, the loss counts against me. It hurts my record. Your record should be better than mine because you don't have to bet on every single fight. Now, Lupe Godinez, she goes out and loses, and it was a lock. Please understand, locks are hitting at 76.6%. So if you take all the locks and you put them together, and I tell you they're hitting at 76%, you're going to lose. What are you saying, Rico? You said they're locks. Listen to what I'm saying again. If the locks hit at 76% and you parlay them all together, you have a 100% chance to fail. because parlays are at 76%. Like, parlays are all or nothing. You cannot parlay something that's going to hit 76% of the time. If I give you 3 parachutes and I tell you only 76% of them work, if I give you 4 of them and 3 of them work and 1 doesn't, and you know 1 doesn't work, would you jump 4 times? Or would you try to choose wisely and maybe jump twice? That's my only question. You got 4 parachutes. Would you go skydiving 4 times with 4 parachutes and you know 1 of them doesn't work? Just curious. No reason to parlay all the locks together and then come to me and say, Rico, you missed on a lock. I got a guy spamming me saying, Rico doesn't know. He lost my ass. You said it was a lock. Da-da-da-da. Bro, leave the channel and don't ever come back, because you're going to go lose your money on your own, and I don't need to hear about it. Not for $25 or not for the $50 you've paid in your life. I went and looked it up. You've paid me $50 in your life. That's not enough money to badger me all night because you parlayed 3 locks and they didn't hit. It's right here and right. There's nothing hidden here, bro. It's as transparent as possible. Every pick I've ever made is in black and white. It's on digits. It's in 4K. It's on every video. I've never taken one down. You can go look it up. I hit on 76% of the locks. You should be hitting on 100% of the locks, or at least trying. At least try. Find the ones that are going to hit and the ones that aren't. Dig a little deeper. It's unfortunate Godinez didn't hit. This was on a parlay here. It was not the most advantageous parlay. Remember, when I picked what I believed in the most for this card, what a coincidence, I picked 2 locks. Of the 3 locks, I picked 2 that I really believed in. What a coincidence. I did exactly what I would do. They gave me 3 parachutes. I know one of these parachutes isn't going to make it. I jumped twice with 2 parachutes. That's what you see up here. And even my next most confident play wasn't another lock. It was a lean, because I know my leans are at 72%. Can't pick all the leans. Got to go with one of them. I went with one of them, and it's unfortunate they voided it out, or we would have hit on that plus 197 as well. Some MVPs are better than others. Gambling's not for everyone, but it's pretty simple. If I say this is a lock, that means it's a 76% chance of hitting. I don't know how much better you want. I don't know how much more accurate I need to be. I've only picked 47 locks, and 36 hit out of 47. Those odds sound really good to me. Figure it out. That's on you. So at this point, I got a guy yelling at me in the chat, and we've missed 5 in a row, and you're starting to second guess yourself. There's nothing I can do. The picks are already made. The video's already made. The assessment is made. So how good does it feel to get a plus 154 right on the button? To get the train coming through, Nate Landwehr wins by knockout. How good does that feel? It feels pretty good. But we're getting there. Now we start the main card. Oh, but just to quote the haters, Rico, you said bet Nate Landwehr, but I know no one in chat bet Nate Landwehr. Bro, there are 30 to 40 to 50 people watching the UFC live stream. There are hundreds of MVPs. There are hundreds of people that hit that bet. Hundreds. They're just not in the chat. Your friends don't know, but the MVPs do. Cheaty opens up the main card, and we win again. Shout out to me. My lean was accurate. By the way, when you look at leans, 1, 2, 3, 4 leans on the card. We went 50-50 on the card for leans. Not good. 50-50 is tough. Got to pick and choose wisely, and it happens. We'll talk about the Aaron Blanchfield here in a second. But Cheaty finds a way to win. Looked good. I couldn't believe that somebody even had Rise winning. It was weird. He shouldn't have won any rounds. That was dumb. Algio. Everybody in the world was on Algio. Minus 250. Hey, Rico, why didn't you jump the bandwagon with Algio, the karate master? Minus 250. I didn't like him. I didn't think he could beat Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson is in a whole new camp, a whole new wavelength, a whole new world. I love the way Kyle Nelson's been fighting for the last 2 fights. I believe in that Canadian dude. So I took a plus 190, and you ain't saying shit. Took a plus 190 when the rest of the world wouldn't. We hit on Kyle Nelson. Congratulations. Then the lock of the night, I felt like Ruzabayev belongs somewhere in the UFC. This should not be his debut. This should not be his second fight. All that nonsense. Dumas ain't nothing. He's beating on women. And I told you it's the lock. The only thing I was mad about is we didn't get a submission. We got a TKO. It happens. What a beast. Ruzabayev should have parlayed it with Loughran, and you would have made your money minus 126. Go heavy. You could fucking put the house on that one right there. You go heavy. Bruno Silva, they told me he had knockout power, minus 290. So many people were on Silva. Algeo on the main card. This minus 290, they believed he was going to knock out Chris Weidman. I didn't believe it. I love Chris Weidman for everything he is. I think he's a better fighter. It turns out he's also a better eye poker, scraping dudes, poking their eyes, and he ends up winning the fight. And they decided to put it by points, so I'm hoping this paid out the plus 430, which is what I told everybody to take on the bet. But it doesn't matter. Chris Weidman found a way to win, got it done, and he didn't look outclassed. He looked like he belonged in there. I was very proud of Chris Weidman. Very proud of the MVPs who believed in the value bets. At that point, just so we're clear, for the night on value bets, 3-3. And if you're 3-3 on value bets and you bet all the value bets with 1 unit, you're way up. You're way up because you lost 3 units here. And then we go to win. You win 1.5, 1.9, 2.1. That's 4 units. You should be up 5 units. 5.5 units. Get real, bro. That's just betting the values that you don't like. The ones you want to talk shit about all night. You should be up at least 4 units. Some MVPs are better than others. Vicente Luque, Joaquin Buckley, it's a coin flip. It's a lean. I picked correctly. I believe in a young man coming up or changing weight classes, going down from 185 to 170. I believe in a more explosive athlete. I believed in Joaquin Buckley, and I was right. Now, where did I go wrong? Sometimes we got to make our money in the prelim. Sometimes we got to make our money in other fights. And I know a lot of people, their entire fight card is riding on the main event, and it feels good to ride on the main event. But we need to get away from that habit. It's just like in college football when people bet on all the big games, and they're like, yeah, I need Bama to beat Georgia for my – it's like, what are you doing? That's not the short thing. Let's go with Memphis beating Iowa State. Let's go with something that we know is going to happen, something we believe in. And in this case, I made a mistake. I really believed in Erin. I knew she had a viable opponent against her, just like I knew Loopy did. But you got to pick and choose your battles, and we pick and choose wrong. We're now at 70% on we've now chosen 8 out of 10, 8 out of 11. So 70-something percent on main events. Missed, and it hurt for some people. It hurt for the night. It sucks, but I want to tell you, man, when your back's against the wall, you find out who your friends are. You find out who your supporters are. You find out who your day ones are. You find out who your people who aren't going anywhere. And I got news for you, man. The UFC fight game is tough. You think you're winning, and you can just get punched and lose. That's what makes these weeks like this where you go 11-0, 12-2. These are not normal. This is outrageous. The 8-4s, the 9-4s, 9-3s, 8-4s, that is consistently outrageous. So to end up 7-6 on the night, above 500, and still be somewhat ridiculed because of the way you bet is your best. And, that's your problem, man. I'm fine. I woke up this morning. I looked over, saw my girl. She's still there. Shout out to Ash. I'm just letting you guys know. It's a tough world we're in. It's a tough game. And we got another fight card next weekend. Every single week there are fights, just like college football. And you got to dust off and try again. And as many as you guys think, and I showed this last night, but as many of you guys think, oh, Rico, you're falling off, you don't know what you're doing. Never forget this. It happened in college football. It's right here, guys. Week 6 and week 7, I was back-to-back under 40%. Insane against the spread. And we then got back on track. ended the season at 65% in championship weekend bowl games. You cannot worry about the process. You can't worry about how you're doing it. You just got to be consistent, never lose faith. The numbers will pan out. Good luck. Don't be stupid. Don't jump without a working parachute. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows.